I just think like anything. I think that you should always leave, some margin, a crack in the door for any possibility, right? And if things line up and there's a need and the game, his body, everything's telling us that it makes sense in that situation, great. And it would be storybook. But I think that to kind of count on that, bet on that, I think that's an unfair kind of way to go about it. But Shohei's on board, which is continuing his rehab process, and I wouldn't put it past him to have an eye on that, and we'll just see how it plays out.
Well, how about what was buzzing around here today, that there's a possibility the Dodgers would use Shohei Ohtani, at least out of the bullpen, to pitch in the postseason.
He's looked good in the bullpens. He's obviously looked good with the long toss. He's telling everybody he feels good. The effort, to me, is what I'm watching with the throws, and he's throwing the baseball with conviction. And so, obviously, the Dodgers have a long time. It's about 6 weeks if they get to the World Series, but that's enough time to get him ramped up, to see hitters, and get a feel and command of his stuff.
Ball 3 to Will Smith. I mean, you can picture the theater already. You don't have to really imagine it too much because it happened in the World Baseball Classic. Shohei coming out of the bullpen to finish off Team Japan's win against Team USA, striking out Mike Trout to do it. Well, imagine that on the World Series stage.
Against Aaron Judge, maybe. I'm just having fun with it,
It's a dreamer's dream. And that's what baseball's all about.
Alvin, Ohtani's having an outstanding year, and it could get even better for the Dodgers. What more can you tell us?
That on top of him potentially winning an MVP and getting to 50-50, he might pitch in the playoffs. All of a sudden, that's not impossible. The Dodgers have been saying flatly no to the idea of Shohei Ohtani being available in October all year. Today, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts left open that possibility, saying that it is a non-zero chance that he would be an option for them. I mean, look, Shohei Ohtani continues to progress in his rehab from a second elbow surgery. He might soon face hitters, and the rest of the Dodgers starters are still kind of going in the opposite direction. Tyler Glasnow had another setback today. Clayton Kershaw is still on the injured list. The Dodgers still look exceedingly short-handed with their starting pitching. Now, I should add the caveat that at this point it's still probably a little bit of a long shot. There's still a lot of steps for Shohei Ohtani to clear. I'm told that if this is an option, it wouldn't be until the NLCS, maybe even the World Series. But the fact that this is even being considered speaks volumes to the expectations around the Dodgers and where they're at with their starting pitching right now.
And that's why, again, I have no evidence of this, but I would be skeptical to actually see him in the start. But 2023 WBC, just as a closer, like Ohtani to give me 3 outs, I think he might do that.
I was watching him in the stands in WBC, right? I was watching him go back and forth down to Miami. I'm going, wait, what is he doing? He was going to warm up, but he was on deck when he came up to hit. Right? So it was like, how do I get this guy, to not sit there and be in a like one-dimensional type of situation, right?
Yeah.
He's just DHing. His mind is like, no, I can help this team in multiple facets. And look, I don't think Doc would have went out there and said something if he didn't feel like this guy has a chance to go out there and help him.
100%. Doc's been around the block, so he knows what's happening here. So Ohtani could be in that rotation. And quite honestly,
I know it's not like I don't necessarily believe that Dave Roberts sits there and like deliberately lies like on purpose. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I don't. Like, I think he either, like I've said before, I think he either gets information sort of mixed up. So we saw it during the winter meetings when he was asked, like, have the Dodgers met with Ohtani? He was the only person who said yes, when the entire story was, hey, if meetings get out, like, Ohtani's not going to be happy. He's going to eliminate that team. Like, so, but Dave he said, I'm not going to lie. I don't want to lie. So I feel like him
first
saying
injury updates too.
Yes. I feel like him saying this, like, sort of falls into that boat of, like, he's not going to say that, yes, it's happening, but there is a potential for it. And so he's going to say, like, yes, it's not like he continues to state that it is not a likely scenario. They're not planning on it, different versions of that, but then also follows it up with, but it's not fully, it's not 100% no.
And so I don't think it's a 0% chance. Like, that's what I would say. I think it's going to be in play. And the reason is because it wouldn't be that hard, Matt, for me to imagine a scenario where the Dodgers are in very, 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 very meaningful baseball games and are desperately in need of 1 out or 3 outs or a guy to just get them out of a jam. And they look down the bench and there's Ohtani, who's technically available to pitch, And much like they said, no, Kershaw's never going to pitch out of the bullpen. He's a guy who's available. And I've said this last night, and Blake actually disagreed with me. Like, if the Dodgers have a real chance to win the World Series, and putting Shohei Ohtani into a slightly potentially compromised position as a pitcher is the one thing that's going to dramatically increase their chances of winning the World Series in a big spot, I'm okay with it. And I know there's lots of people that hate that. Blake disagreed. I said if you could guarantee me one World Series and Ohtani never pitches again, I would take it in a heartbeat. Blake disagreed with me, but I just think the Dodgers could potentially get to a place. Like, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm saying it's not zero.
I agree. And I think for me, too, the other part of this is what I don't see is any scenario where Ohtani pitches in the NLDS.
Yeah, no,
I think if the Dodgers advance to the NLCS, and it would have to be like a game like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That's when, to me, it becomes the first like reality of, hey, like, is he ready for this? Is this like, that would be the earliest point that they do it. Likewise, they get to the World Series. I don't see it happening the first, games 1 through 5. Right. It would need to be later in that. And I agree with you. We've been asked this question by our chat, it sounds like you guys got it. You and Blake got it. I know myself, Daniel, and Scott got it the night before you guys. And it was posed to us from the standpoint of Game 7.
Yeah.
The Dodgers like need an inning or an out. I forgot the exact, I think it was Hawaiian Tier actually who pitched it, was asking, would you use Ohtani if it meant like winning the World Series? And the three of us agreed. And what I will say is I don't think the Dodgers, to the best of their knowledge, are going to put him in a compromising position physically.
Right.
The only way he pitches is if they feel comfortable that, he's gone through enough of the progression and he's right. They're not going to accelerate his timeline so that he pitches in the playoffs. Like, that's not happening. But if he's ready, if he's gone through the natural progression that they sort of laid out at the beginning of the year and it lines up and it can happen, then yeah, I can see it. But again, not like NLCS would be the earliest, late NLCS, late World Series. The other part of this too that I think we need to take into account and discuss, there's I think a very real possibility that Ohtani may like tell them, I want to, I'm willing to, I'm ready, like that type of thing. Like, he is a competitor.
Yeah.
And so if he goes to them and says, hey, like, I feel like I can do this, like, I would imagine that also changes the Dodgers' stance a little bit from, what we've seen, at least from the front office, of no, he's not going to at all.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いします。